Hey guys, Dr. Rebecca Warren here from doctorswarren.com, and I wanted to share about women and fasting. And specifically, I wanted to share about my own experiences fasting as a woman. I've fasted leading up to my cycle, during my cycle, I have fasted off my cycle, and I've done shorter fasts. So this video is to encourage women everywhere to choose the best fasting time for themselves and to go in and do it, because fasting has some amazing benefits. So a little bit about my background. At 19 years old, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, papillary variant follicular carcinoma, and I had my thyroid removed, I had radiation, and so I suffered with hormone issues for years. I had irregular cycles, or my cycle wouldn't come. I struggled with memory loss and anxiety, and so I started seeing a chiropractor after I was in a car accident, and it really transformed my life. My cycle started getting regular again. I started eating paleo, getting adjusted, taking supplements, and it was amazing. After having two kids about a year and a half apart, I started to see that my body wasn't responding to the medication that I have to take. Since I don't have a thyroid, I am on a thyroid replacement medication, and I wasn't absorbing my thyroid medication. I wasn't bouncing back from my pregnancy, and of course, I get knocked up again. But after those two babies, I realized that I really needed to go deeper. And in our clinic, as well as with my coaching, we do virtual coaching all over the US, I was doing these techniques and seeing women who were getting coached really see their health transform. So I waited until I was done nursing, so it's not recommended to do any kind of fasting. You could probably do something like an intermittent fasting, but I waited until I stopped nursing to start fasting. Since I was pregnant and nursing for about 4 years, I just recently was able to start jumping into these fasting techniques. So the first thing to understand when you start fasting is what's happening. You're not losing weight just because you're not eating. You start to lose weight and inflammation because some major things are happening within your body. So let's talk about a few things that are happening and why I really was excited to start fasting. And I know some of my clients were like, "You're crazy. Like, who gets excited about that?" I do. I get excited about all things health. So some of the things that happen, your body goes into autophagy. So autophagy is your body's own innate ability to fight cancer, to clear out damaged cells, to really regenerate your body. So autophagy is going to clean out those damaged cells, it's going to get rid of damaged cells, and that's why it's a really good way to fight and prevent cancer, to balance hormones, because autophagy is a very powerful healing mechanism. You get an influx of growth hormone, which is an anti-aging hormone. Not just the way you look, but internally. It's anti-aging for your genes, it's anti-aging for your hormones. So growth hormone is really, really awesome. And stem cells, you get an influx when you do block fasting. So that water fasting, you get this influx of stem cells, which is brand new cells to take over those cells that were cleaned out during that fast. So it's a way to really re-jump your system. You're releasing toxins, you're getting rid of inflammation. It's just an amazing way to just jumpstart your body. And so the first time I did a block fast, so I did about 4 to 5 days. It was about 5 days the first time. And without realizing, I fasted during my cycle. And so if you decide to fast during your cycle, there's a few things that you do have to understand. There's a lot of hormones. There's a lot of things that are moving around depending on where you're at with your cycle and when you start fasting. So, day 1 through 14, that estrogen is, rising, it's spiking, you ovulate, then the progesterone goes up, your temperature's changing, cervical fluid's changing. And so there's a few things that I noticed on my fast that were really frustrating, and I'll go ahead and tell you this. I probably won't ever fast around my cycle again. Well, number one, I didn't lose as much weight. And I'm not talking about I'm paying attention to weight because I'm fasting for weight loss, but moving in that right direction, burning inflammation, getting rid of toxins. You can see a change in your weight. And it doesn't mean that it's all going to stay off, but seeing those pounds kind of go down during your fast is a good pointer that you're moving in the right direction. You might gain some of those back after the fast, but I was very weight loss resistant. And the reason why is because I was retaining water and I was still kind of not in a bad way bloating, but bloating in that kind of way that happens naturally when you're on your cycle. So the body was kind of resistant to what my body was trying to do at the same time while fasting. Another thing was I could not get into a deep ketosis. So I was out of ketosis when I started my fast. One really great thing is if you're out of ketosis around day 2 to 3 of your fast, you start seeing that your body is producing ketones. Well, mine was slowly going and it wasn't producing a lot of ketones. In fact, I remember about 3 or 4 days I reached out to my mentor and I was like, what is going on? I want more ketones. And he's like, well, yes, it's because you're on your cycle. You're going to be a little bit more resistant. You're going to have a tendency to be higher on the blood sugar during your cycle. So let's talk about what happened when I fasted off of my cycle. So I'll talk about my most recent experience. I just did a 5-day water fast. And so what it looked like, day 1 to day 2, you're kind of switching from being that sugar burner, burning through the sugar that you consumed, getting it out of your blood, and start going into ketosis, start producing those ketone bodies. So you see that shift between day 1 and 3. Your body's going to start going from, focusing on burning that food to starting to get into autophagy. Then when you get from day 3, 4, and 5, that's when you're going to see that influx of stem cells. So I actually felt great this 5-day fast, but usually what does it look like? Day 1, you start to think, I'm hungry, like I miss food, but you push through that. So one tip I use is that whenever I feel hungry, it comes in waves. So either I have a cup of water or I walk outside, just kind of distract myself until that wave leaves. Now about day 2, you start to get, all right, I'm not eating, and now that's when your body's kind of shifting into ketosis, shifting into autophagy. Now day 3 can be difficult for most people. It wasn't for me. This is a couple of fasts in, so it was fine for me. But day 3 can be that point where it can be difficult. Sometimes people will get headaches. If you've had a previous injury, you can feel that injury where you had it. Day 3 is where I usually tell my coaching clients, stick it through, get through day 3, because day 4 and 5 is when you have amazing benefits from that growth hormone and stem cells. So this time while fasting off of my cycle, I got into ketosis there on that second day because I was out of ketosis when I started. I started losing the inflammation. I started responding to my medication. I felt great. I felt energized. And so everyone's going to be different, because one thing you have to remember too when you're water fasting is that you're releasing toxins. I did take a binder because I do know from my previous health history with my thyroid cancer and the radiation and things that I had been exposed to, I'm toxic, and so I'm detoxing as well. So I took a binder. I like to use not Proflora, that's the probiotics, the GI Detox Plus. I love it. It's not going to kick me out of ketosis. It's not going to ruin my body being in autophagy, but it is going to bind up any toxins that I'm releasing as my body's burning through fat. So another thing I want to say is you guys have got to stick it through. The more you fast, the better your body gets at it, the more flexible you become metabolically, the better you feel on it, the easier it is for you to get in ketosis when you get out of it. So stick it through. If you do it the first time and you only get 3 days in, that's okay. You did 3 days. If you do 2 days, that's great. You did 2 days. Look at your calendar and pick out another date. Say, okay, this time I'm going 3, I'm going 4, I'm going 5. And each time you fast, you'll see some amazing benefits.